the president-elect and the investiture event on the president-elect and vice president-elect with national honors ahead of the inauguration day. And the governor of Anambra State, Governor Masuludo, has written a letter to President Buhari asking passionately for the release of IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu from prison. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale in Abuja. The events of today mark, well, giving some signal to what will come in the coming days. There is a Supreme Court sitting tomorrow about the candidature of Bola Tinubu and Kashim Shettima. We see how that pans out. Well, aside that, all plans, all things being equal, it looks to me that things are in top gear for the inauguration of Bola Tinubu as the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That event anticipated to commence in the morning of May 29, when President Buhari will be saying bye-bye to the presidential villa. This gets our attention as we heard today from Bola Tinubu saying he will not disappoint Nigerians, and the transition notes has now been officially passed on to the president-elect. This gets our attention. I will be getting some very interesting perspective and insightful comments on what happened today ahead of the Tinubu inauguration. So stick around with me, everyone. Let's first and foremost tell you what happened today when the former CBN governor and the governor of Anambra State, Professor Masuludo, made a passionate appeal to President Buhari for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, who has been in detention for some time now. In an open letter addressed to President Buhari, Professor Soludo expressed his concerns over the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu and called for his release. The former governor emphasized the need for dialogue and reconciliation to address the root causes of the grievances expressed by groups like IPOB. Professor Soludo in this letter highlighted the importance of national unity and peaceful coexistence, urging the president to consider a more inclusive approach in addressing the grievances of marginalized groups. He stressed the need for a national conversation to address the underlying issues and find lasting solutions that promote unity and justice for all. We check out some of your stories that we are tracking for you on our political roundup, and we come back to discuss our major conversation for tonight.
The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, has asked the newly sworn-in additional members of the Election Petition Tribunal to maintain the integrity and tenets of the profession it is known for. He also tasked them to always strike a balance between justice and the rule of law as they embark on the assignment. The CJN reminded them that blackmails will arise, but they should rise above it and justify the confidence imposed on them. The 39 judges are drawn from state high courts across the country.
Your appointment to serve in these tribunals is well conceived. Thus, you should do everything within your ability to justify this confidence.
The instrumentality of the law is beyond getting meal tickets for practitioners, but a weapon for economic recovery, sanity by those in power, and tactical policy creation for the country. This is part of the takeaways from the Afe Babalola annual lecture organized by the Nigeria Bar Association Ado-Ekiti branch in honor of legal luminary Afe Babalola. Speaking at the event, the guest speaker and the Vice Chancellor of the University of Jos, Mr. Josh Amopiton SAN, challenged the Supreme Court of Nigeria to climb higher from being an error-correcting court to a policy court.
Supreme Court should move from being an error-correcting court. Court of Appeal, you are wrong here, you are wrong there, you are wrong there. No, that is error-correcting. You should turn the court to become a policy court.
Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule has dissolved his cabinet and let go all political appointees. The governor announced the dissolution in a valedictory meeting with his commissioners, advisors and assistants at the council meeting at the government house, Lafia, the state capital. Governor Sule, however, retained the secretary to the government of the state, Aliyu Ubanduma, and the senior special assistant to the governor's office, Mohammed Abubakar. The commissioners are to hand over the affairs of their various ministries to their permanent secretaries.
For some of you, if I have the opportunity to work with you tomorrow and next tomorrow and next tomorrow, I will work with you. Because you have proved to me that you are loyal.
Members of the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria Ogun chapter have held a peaceful protest and locked the State Assembly gate, demanding the immediate implementation of the consolidated legislative salary structure from the state government. The state chairman of the association, Ayotunde Ojediro, said the action has become imperative for the staff to register their displeasure with the state government. He also explained that the government was yet to comply with the provision of the State Assembly's Service Commission Law 2018, especially sections 10, subsections 2, 13 and 14, and the Statutory Officers Amendment Law of 2018.
Second allegation that has to do with the non-compliance on the part of the state government with the provisions of Ogun State House of Assembly Commission Law 2019, which has affected the three most senior officials.
The parliamentary...
All right, we'll take a pause on the political roundup and take you live to Rivers State, where there is an ongoing live broadcast of Governor Nyesom Wike's cabinet valedictory session there. Let's take a look and listen to Governor Nyesom Wike, Governor of Rivers State.
For the federal government, when we know they violated the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we're not afraid. Yes, we had a lot of problems. From 2015, when we came, we met a hostile federal government. It was not easy for us, but with God, we survived it. Like the parish chairman said, from 2015, when the elections were nullified from the State Assembly to National Assembly to governorship, we remained undaunted. Yes, we remained undaunted. There were reruns and reruns and reruns and reruns, but God was on our side. We survived it. And we have never chickened out to speak the truth. We've never chickened out to say what we believe in. And we give God the glory. So I want to sincerely thank each and every one of you here for your contributions. To work with me, I've always said, is very difficult. I've said that from the beginning. And those of you who were able to work with me for 8 years, I know what you must pass. You must have passed through. It's not as if I have any misgivings, but that I always want the best for our state. Our team, we have done well. We've tried. Our political team, we have done well. Luckily for us, we did not have an opportunity of anybody handing over to us. We never had an opportunity to be handed over any document. In fact, it was even difficult to get a parade vehicle. We had to borrow from the governor of Ondo State, Dr. Olusegun Mimiko, who borrowed us the vehicle to do a parade during the swearing. That tells how bad it was, how wicked the previous administration was, to the point where I couldn't pack to government house for more than a year because everything was looted, down to pillowcases, down to bed sheets were looted. The kitchen was looted. But that is not the case today. The governor-elect has been part of the government. The deputy governor-elect has been part of this government. We thank God that we are going to hand over successfully to the government. I'm sure everybody is happy that you can go home, nobody will stone you to say, look at these criminals. They looted the treasury of the state. No one common project. No. You can go home and tell anybody, challenge me, which area did you say we are lacking? No local government in this state can say that we have not impacted in their own local government, not one. From Rivers West to Rivers East to Rivers Southeast, not one local government can say so. So you can go home and say, God, I thank you that I was in the team that brought Rivers State to the limelight, where today Nigerians respect. I've told you we are not second-class citizens, and we cannot be second-class citizens. Wherever you are, be proud to be a Rivers man and a Rivers woman. Don't ever play a second fiddle role to anybody, because God has given us what it takes. So I once more would say thank you. I will miss most of the interactions. You no longer call me this commissioner. It's no longer available. Okay, call me commissioner of work. It's no longer available. So you may not have any high blood pressure again. I thank God that the high blood pressure will have to stop, but the relationship will continue to be there. All we need is to pray for the incoming government, support them. Where he finds you necessary to be part of his cabinet, do not disappoint us by saying no. Where he also does not mean that if you're not a member of the cabinet, you will not support the administration. That is what we should bear in mind, that, like somebody said, there are 6 million Rivers people, and then you're given opportunity to serve for 6 months. If you begin to divide it, you know that is a privilege that everybody will be hustling for. So your prayers are needed for them. We will find ourselves in different things. Some of us will go back to our professions. Some of us who don't have professions will continue to do that we know how to best to do. Some of us will go back to an FA if it's available. So you find yourself one way or the other. But I know that wherever you find yourself, the interest of the state is paramount. The interest of the state is paramount. I also want to thank you for the support for our party in our state, for standing firm when people thought we would go down. With your support and by God's blessing, today we have opened the gate. I thank Almighty God by chasing away agents of Satan. Agents of Satan, we never knew that Satan had planted his agents until God opened our eyes. And we will never fall into that kind of temptation again. So, God has exposed them, and will continue to pray for the incoming government not to have the kind of experience we had, because it was not easy. It was not easy for us. But in all, we give thanks to God. So it does not matter you have money, you don't have money, but you are going home satisfied. I worked for Rivers State. I'm happy they're talking about what we did. Anywhere you go, there's nobody that will not talk about this administration. Anywhere you go. So that alone can make you feel comfortable in life.
Money will come when it will come. Let me thank the Cabinet Secretariat. Yes, I've shouted on you. That is just to make you be strong. Yes, be strong. Yeah, wearing suit. I don't know why you bought the suit. I don't know whether I'll call this one suit or coat. But be assured that the incoming government will do whatever is necessary to give you all the necessary support. It's not easy to take records, and we have never had a situation where the records of the council are on the pages of newspaper. I sincerely thank you. I believe that the office of the Secretary to Government will do the needful to make sure that you are happy.
Right, that's being Governor Nyesom Wike, Governor of Rivers State, at the valedictory session of the Cabinet in Port Harcourt today. He's been speaking about the achievement of his government in the past years. And so let's tell you about what happened today when President Muhammadu Buhari conferred the honor, the National Honor of GCFR on the President-elect Bola Tinubu and GCON on his running mate and the Vice President-elect Senator Kashim Shettima that held at a banquet hall at the Presidential Villa in Abuja in the State House. This is part of the transition program. Afterwards, the President handed over transition notes to the President-elect, signaling that official handing over of the state of affairs of the nation and the way things are on presently to the President-elect. And also afterwards was the handing over of the baton to the President-elect, Bola Tinubu. I'd like you to listen to what Bola Tinubu said after that ceremony.
You have done your part, Mr. President. Now, a great duty will descend on me. I understand the meaning of the honor given to me today and the magnitude of the task that awaits. Whether you go to Dara or Niger or anywhere, you expect knocks on your doors. We are determined, as enumerated, on security, economy, agriculture, jobs, education, health, and power, and in all sectors. We must make headway as you've charted the course. The people deserve no less. You said so. I shall not disappoint you.
As the President-elect Bola Tinubu earlier today, let's get a sense of what this means altogether and what lies ahead in the coming days. Monday, 29th of May, is the inauguration day that will signal whether or not what Nigerians need to expect from the incoming government. I'm being joined by the national woman leader of the APC and former health commissioner in Cross River State, Ms. Betta Edu. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Is there any kind of concern in the ranks of the APC based on the judgment of the Supreme Court from tomorrow, that will happen tomorrow?
None at all. I'm sure if you followed the whole judgment all the way from the lowest court up to the appeal and now at the Supreme Court, you understand clearly that it's a no case. And so APC, indeed, Nigerians are not in any way bothered about the judgment of tomorrow, because already we know that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu on 29th of May would be sworn in as president. Of course, you know very well that the event for the inauguration has fully started. Just this evening, before I arrived at the studio, we saw all the air forces and their different jets taking their rehearsals today over the villa and all of the areas around the central area in Abuja. So all activities, everything is on top gear, and we're truly, truly not worried about tomorrow.
Those who are pushing that case and who went to court are asking for justice. And they've raised question marks on the candidature of your principal, Bola Tinubu, and his vice, Kashim Shettima. And they are hopeful, and you need to hear what they're saying in their own camp. They are very optimistic that there will be judgment that will favor them tomorrow at the Supreme Court.
Well,
does that not bother you in any way?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
What if it doesn't go in your way?
So it's very, very clear that it definitely will go in our way.
Do you know what the Supreme Court is going to say tomorrow?
So I'm not trying to
It does look like you understand the script already.
I'm not no script at all. I'm not trying to preempt the Supreme Court judges, but of course there are several factors that come into play when Supreme Court is issuing a judgment, and one of them is the stability of the policy of a nation.
Against the justice?
So the justice clearly...
I'm just asking you that, you probably
of course,
need to
all of them are part of it.
Justice, stability,
stability, but everything is part of it. So it's a holistic judgment, right? Looking at the environment, the stability of the country, its politics, of course, justice, and every other thing in between. But the case, of course, if you know the substance of the case, you would clearly understand that these are just basically... I don't know what would be the best words to use. If I would want to borrow an English line, say semantics, right? Where you're trying to pull up stuffs where nothing truly exists. So there's really no basis for that. But of course, just like we saw the judgment which was issued a few hours ago at the appeal court, actually fining someone 40 million for asking that inauguration should not hold. So you just find people who come up with these ideas and they believe somehow, by whatever means, they will get through with it. But of course, Nigeria is beyond all of those sentiments. Nigeria belongs to all of us, and we must work together to build it.
Do you understand, especially in your party, the enormity of the job at hand? The nation is in dire strait. You realize so? So you are the woman leader.
Yes.
You hear what the women say, not of your party, but women of other stock who belong to Nigeria generally.
The first point we must understand is that Nigeria is a work in progress. If you listen to the speech of President Muhammadu Buhari today at the State Banquet Hall, he said very clearly, I've fought a good fight. I've run my race. I definitely can do everything, but I have fought a good fight, and I'm handing over Nigeria into the hands of one who I believe will continue from where I start, and he will do better. He would, of course, improve on the places where I have lapses. For us as APC, as a party, we stand very strong to say, yes, President Muhammadu Buhari has had a lot of high points, right? But definitely there are here and there some low points, which the incoming government will improve upon.
Does the Bola Tinubu team, because I can refer to them as a government just yet, does him and his team realize what is ahead? Do they realize?
I think if you know Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he's a deep thinker, a thinker and a doer, one who is very, very strong in terms of strategizing, planning, analyzing. I can boldly tell you for free that the next 60 days have clearly been spelled out by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What he hopes to do, what he hopes to achieve, at what point and where. That's how precise he is. He understands fully the task that is ahead of him. Remember, he has been in power at different levels, but of course not at the federal level. And he is prepared, fully prepared. He wants to hit the ground running. He's prepared to walk in the interest of Nigeria.
Nigeria is a kettle of fish entirely. He was a governor of Lagos State. Lagos State is just one out of 36 states of the country. So when people make reference to Bola Tinubu being a former governor, being a governor is like being a class master of a class of 36 in a school. Is different from being a headmaster of an entire school. So he was a captain of a state. Now he's going to be the captain of the sheep of the Nigerian nation. So that burden is different. For example, today, the governor of Anambra State is written a passionate letter to President Buhari asking for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. These are one of the very technicalities that Bola Tinubu will have to face. To uniting the nation first, how is he going to politically do that? As those kind of conversations come up in your internal ranks?
Of course, a lot of that is going on. And if you can see his disposition since he became the president-elect, he's been reaching out to different sects, even those who feel marginalized, to say, how can we all come to the table? How can we make this work as Nigerians, having one front, one force, one focus, and one goal to develop this country? You can bear me witness that Lagos is not just any other state. Lagos has a population that is even bigger than most African countries. Of course, you know that. And if you're able to bring Lagos from where it was in 1999 to become an economic giant such that is the 5th economy in all of Africa, then he can be able to replicate same in Nigeria. But that being said, the Nigerian situation is way bigger. And of course, the problems are there. And indeed, the various little ups and downs are also there. And he is truly aware of this. He's been briefed. He's had several interactions with different key stakeholders from different areas of the country so far. And for him, it's just to hit the ground running and ensure he fixes it.
And I'd like to know, Ms. Edo, the party APC on one hand, those who are in government on another hand, because the party is the one that is pushing a candidate forward. And the question is, your party, which promised change in 2015, the question is, have they given that change? I mean, there are billboards of when the APC put out there that they will change the status of the naira. Naira will be at a parity of $1 to 1 naira. Do you know what the dollar is right now to the naira, madam?
Sure.
I do. How do you feel as a leader of the APC from a party that promised such miracle, and now we are nowhere?
So you can say we are nowhere.
Okay, so
right?
let me give you an understanding of where, if we are somewhere or not. If you say you are going to have a naira, a parity of 1 naira to a dollar, and in the parallel market is about 740 naira to a dollar, are we somewhere? When you met it at about 200 or less.
So when you came into Nigeria or when you took over Nigeria as the party, the governing party in the country, right? And you met part of our territories, over 22 local governments in the hands of terrorists. And today, at your exit, you don't have any single part of our country under the rulership or ownership of any terrorist group. That's positive change. When he came in to government, of course, APC got into government in 2015. Every other day we had bombs going off everywhere. I cannot recall the last time I had a bomb going off anywhere in Nigeria. That's positive change.
Maybe because you live in Abuja.
Those
who live in some part of the interior of this country,
well, of course, we have you to report for us.
And northwestern region, you live in some part of the northeast region, they'll be wondering whether Mr. Edu, just like I said to Mr. Femi Adesina yesterday, whether you live in the same Nigeria that they live in.
Well, at least we have you to report for us. So if you're not reporting it, that means it's not happening, isn't it?
We're reporting people being kidnapped. Just today, we had there were reports of 2 of the girls that were kidnapped in Yauri by the Dongangide faction of the bandits. Being released today. I mean, these are schools that bandits went in there and took away our children. That's the sad state of security in the country.
So,
that is the country that the APC is presently giving to Nigeria.
The truth is this, right? First and foremost, Nigeria today is not where it was in 2015. A lot has improved. Our infrastructure has improved. There was no second Niger Bridge and several other roads. Of course, you give it to this government. They've done a lot on infrastructure. They've done a lot in terms of even the humanitarian affairs, reaching out to people, creating different social platforms to be able to alleviate Nigerians from poverty. A lot of laws have been passed into place to help form a system.
You're touching on something that is also very sensitive. When you talk, take people out of poverty, it's under your government. That is now over 50% of Nigerians are poor. In fact, 153 million Nigerians are said to be in multidimensional poverty. And that's the situation. That was not the case when you took over government in 2015. I'm asking, madam, that's your party promised Nigeria Uhuru, but now I don't know what you think. Do you think that Nigerians are happy with your party today?
Yes, I think so. I think so.
What makes you think so?
Well, the ballots, of course, have stated very clearly
with less than 40% of votes,
the feeling of Nigerians,
that you got at the ballot.
Right?
Difference from what you got in 2019 and 2015.
Like I said,
there's a decline of the acceptance by votes to your party.
Of course, there were indicators that will show that there might be a decline, but our party still won the majority of votes in the last election, and that's what I'm stating. So I'll go through a couple of things to put it in its context, right? In the last 8 years, we've gone through a COVID pandemic that has left the entire world in an economic recession. I went to UK a couple of weeks ago, and I know how much a single item on the shelf in the supermarket sold. When I was living back there in 2013, 2014, when I went to school and the rest of it, right, I knew exactly how much the same item was selling on the shelf. So when you want to constitutionalize it, you need to ask yourself, are there things that happened in this whole span of 8 years that could have affected the economy, that could have affected the response which the government was expected to give to what was going on?
Can Nigerians trust Bola Tinubu?
I bet on anything. Nigerians would plead with an Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu 4 years down the line to run for a second term.
How would your party, because there are those who are of the Christian stock in this country, because Nigeria is a secular state and such that there must be some kind of sensitivity to issues of religion. There are those who felt offended by the Muslim ministry ticket of your party going into the ballot of 2023, and now the talks of possibility of having a Christian, and those who are talking about those issues. Is your party aware of those fiber that hold our country together that are being gradually peeled off because of politics?
I would want to say this. First and foremost, the Nigerian ship should sail beyond the point of religious, cultural, ethnicity, and all of those level of politics. That's number one.
Easy?
We should
work towards to say that for those who have been marginalized in terms of their ethnic stock and religious stock, when you have a Muslim president, a Muslim vice president, and there are those who are saying there will be a Muslim Senate president, a Muslim speaker,
so the party
and you're asking them that they should not put. How do you hope that they will not feel marginalized?
The party has come out to zone. And it has not just zoned in terms of zoning to regions. It has narrowed down on persons. So the number 3 person is going to be a Christian, is going to be from the South, another region. There is not number 1, it's not number 2. And they've zoned all the way down, giving Christians a seat at the table. I'm a Christian and I support the party. My party has produced the first priest as a governor in the history of Nigeria.
Madam, let's close this interview. So, I'd like you to say this maybe in 10, 15 seconds. Could you give Nigerians the confidence that the appellation of an Islamic party that your party in some part of the country have been quoted with, you're telling Nigerians that Nigerians will not be seeing those kind of tendency should Bola Tinubu get into power?
Of course, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not a religious bigot. He is indeed one who would be for all Nigerians. If you look around him, the people who walk around him, his dear wife, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, and several others. They are all Christians. Definitely, this is a government about the people. Politics is over. He's out here to serve. He's out to serve Nigeria. And indeed, religion, ethnicity, tribe will not becloud his feeling of what he's supposed to do for Nigerians. We can be rest assured. And even the areas that feel marginalized, at the end of this 4 years, you will boldly say, Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave me a seat at the table.
Dr. Betta Edu, National Women Leader of the APC, thank you so much indeed for coming out now.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Thank
we
you.
take a break, everyone, and when we come back, we get yet another view on this matter. Bola Tinubu is going to be in the saddle, all things being equal, on Monday. I'll be getting a view of a former deputy governor in a northwestern state of Nigeria. Stay with me, everyone. We'll be right back.
My people, you know, say election don't finish now. You don't elect president, elect governor, National Assembly members, State of Assembly members. But matter see the tribunal. Well, we have to move forward. First of all, the person where you send go office, it be like say you send a message. Suppose they check upon him, suppose they call him. You suppose they ask him the money where I put for your hand, how you take the manager, employment, opportunities where you promise me for manifesto. You go do them, I be you don't do them. Now here, budget is gonna make it simple for you. If you track government budget, how government takes spend money for your area from budget.org. You even fit track public projects, all the roads, the schools, the hospitals for your area, tracker.ng. You even fit on allocation for your state, for your local government, me.budget.org. Now, the matter in your hand. The person where you say go office, you supposed to make sure say they work for you. This message now from Budget.
The Duchess International Hospital opened its doors in October 2021. The mission of the hospital is to reverse medical tourism. We take particular care here at the Duchess to bring together a combination of the brightest and the best locally, as well as Nigerians in the diaspora who are interested in returning to do very good work for the benefit of our patients here in this country.
The good thing is that we have all international expertise here, all international facilities here, international people working here. Everything is coming together in a space which was considered not great in terms of the availability of healthcare.
Access Bank, of course, has been able to provide us with a robust range of products and services that has enabled us to deliver that standard and quality of healthcare that is integral to our mission as an organization.
Madam, the outside, she don't come.
Daily activities comes with different challenges. In a bid to accomplish your daily task, malaria has a way of getting you into distress. P-Alaxin anti-malaria keeps you capable and ensures you deliver against all odds.
Madam.
I feel your face don't calm down. You like say malaria no work.
Malaria don't run. Turn to P-Alaxin anti-malaria medicine.
I tell you.
Madam, thank you.
P-Alaxin, marketed by Green Life Pharmaceuticals Limited. P-Alaxin defeats malaria.
Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get some perspectives now. Well, a different perspective from what we had earlier on the transition period. Bola Tinubu is going to be the next president of Nigeria. A baton has been passed on to him. Transition notes will be given to him. Now, I'll be talking to someone who is being in an executive position in this country, a former deputy governor of Sokoto State, His Excellency Mukhtar Shagari. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Phil. Pleasure.
Bola Tinubu is going to be president. What are your feelings about what happened today? The transition period is here.
Well, First of all, let me say this. All of us in this country must accept and believe that on the 10th to 9th of May, there will be a new person as the president of this country. As far as everybody is concerned, and as far as the law is concerned today, Bola Tinubu, unless the Supreme Court says something different tomorrow, will be sworn in as the next president of this country. That is the position as it is. That has to be clear to everybody. Now, the most important thing is that if Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is sworn in eventually on the 29th of May, he must understand, and the people around him also must understand. He will be sworn in as the president of Nigeria, which means whatever it is, he will be the president of each and everyone in this country. He will no longer be the president of APC. He was the presidential candidate of APC. But as soon as he's sworn in as the president, he becomes the president of this country. What should we do as Nigerians? What we should do as Nigerians is to wish him well, and also for him to do what is right. What will be right, in my view, is that with all the problems that we have gone through during these presidential campaigns and the elections and the rest of it, is that it's for him to have a government of national unity, which means bringing people into his government. And let me say this. No matter how brilliant a person is, if he becomes the president, he can only succeed if he has the right team. And the right team may not necessarily be within your party. You have to look outside to look for good Nigerians who can help you lead this country to prosperity. Now, I want to say this. Nigerians are looking forward to tomorrow. What will the Supreme Court say? It is preposterous, and for any person to now take a decision and say this is what the Supreme Court will say tomorrow. Let's wait and see what happens. Let us also wish our country peace, progress, unity, and prosperity.
So let's look at, there's something that you mentioned, and the manner in which got to me, you talked about getting the right team, and you said that this could be, if you want to get it right, get people that are possibly outside of this political party, which I'm looking at how easy that will be, considering the kind of the conglomerate, the coming together of people who helped Bola Tinubu become president in his party, of course, outside of his party too. And there are a lot of former governors in the APC who will be out of job. Some of them will be looking to be part of the cabinet. How easy, politically speaking, for you to overlook, sidetrack people who possibly helped you to become president?
Well, the ball's in the court of President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It is wrong to think that every person that helps you to be president of the governor must be a commissioner or he must be a minister. People must at any given time have the interests of the nation at heart. There are so many areas in which the president can fix people. They don't have to be ministers. The issue is, if you want to succeed as president, you must have a team. I can very easily say that in 2003, there were thousands and thousands of people that helped President Obasanjo to become the president of this country. But he brought in people that are not even members of his party in the government, and he formed one of the best executive councils ever in the history of this country. Everybody in this country knew the achievement that was made possible.
Do you see that ability in Tinubu too? The eyes for talent.
Yeah.
He's had it. A lot of people will credit. I mean, if you look at the kind of people that have been around Bola Tinubu, the Lai Mohammeds of this world, the Baton Fasholas of this world, the Fenba Jabiamilas of this world, the Wale Eduns of this world, these are the kind of the caliber of people, Muiz Banere, a long list of them who have done very good for themselves in their own career and in government. Do you feel that Bola Tinubu has that kind of knack, just like you're describing Obasanjo?
Well, you see, the success story people have been talking about as far as Lagos State is concerned, I think the foundation was laid by Bola Ahmed Tinubu when he was governor of Lagos State. And he was able to achieve that, I believe, because he had the right people. So he has, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not being political in this one, I'm just being honest and sincere. As far as I'm concerned, he has the ability, because he has demonstrated that, to be able to choose the right people to lead this country. The issue is about Nigeria. The issue is about development in this country. The issue is about our peace. The issue is about inclusiveness. And the issue is doing the right thing. If the president does the right thing from the word go and lay the foundation, for success and progress in this country, we'll achieve it. But I believe that if we look at what has happened, in fact, a lot of people yesterday were talking about the refinery that was commissioned. And people said yes, it was because of the plan that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, prepared and left behind in Lagos. That is why we are getting all these things.
Considering that one or two states, there are controversies of how they rejected.
On how they rejected, and of course they accepted. So one can easily say that without fear of contradiction, that I believe he has the ability. And you see, like I said, even if you are the most intelligent president, if you don't have a good team, you will not succeed. Bola Ahmed Tinubu must understand that and must have that at the back of his mind. And the people that are around him must also, if they want him to succeed, they must also help him to do what is right.
Are you a lover of football?
I am a footballer.
Oh, yeah. What team do you support?
Well, I support
Arsenal. Oh, no. Oh, no. You just disappointed me. Because there is only one team in London, which is the team in North London, which is just around Fulham, which you know the team, the best team in London.
No, I know.
That's Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Yeah, that's the best team in London.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's what I like to know. But the reason why I asked that question is this. There are those football players, those stars. You get them, the spark in their maybe in Brazil or in Argentina, in some other countries. You see them as a star to be, and you bring them to a bigger stage, then they fail to perform. I see Lagos State as just a microcosm of a macrocosm, the bigger picture. You might be a fantastic governor of Lagos. Doesn't mean you can be a fantastic president of Nigeria. Lagos is one unit of an entire bigger Nigeria, over 200 million people. Do you see the possibility of being able to transpose that intelligence and brilliance in Lagos on the national stage?
Yes, very easily, if you have the right team. Like you've said, if you are talented and you are captain of a football team, if it happens that you are the only person that is talented and good, and you don't have the right strikers, you can hardly win any competition. But if you have the right people, in fact, it is the right people and the right team, the right strikers and so on and so forth, that will help you to score the goals. So if Bola Ahmed Tinubu, does what he did in Lagos at the national level, that is by expanding what he did to achieve success in Lagos, and bring him the right caliber of people, the right people who know what they're doing, and mark you, people who have integrity. Because the brightest person can fail if he doesn't have integrity. So if he has the right team and the right people, I believe that he can transform, he can still do what he did in Lagos, in Nigeria.
Let me manage the expectations of Nigerians. So there is now a new law which mandates a governor and a president to be able to transmit the names of his cabinet members to the parliament in 60 days. That means in 2 months, we will for sure know those who might be in Bola Tinubu's cabinet. That means in the next 2 or 3 months, we will be sure whether Tinubu means business, isn't it? Is that what it means?
Yes. What it means is this. No matter the misgivings we have at the moment, if the president-elect, after he's sworn in, is able to come out with a team, which Nigerians will look at and say, my God, this is the team that can really make Nigeria better, Nigerians will feel comfortable.
So it will give some kind of confidence, possibly.
It will give confidence to the people of this country. Because what the people of this country are looking for, they are not looking for a person. They are looking for somebody who can transform this country and make it better. Don't forget, we have myriads of problems in the area of infrastructure, security, our economy, and so on. You know, our dollar is going down almost every day. We have myriads of problems. Security has not yet been put in the way it should be in this country and so on. So there are a lot of things that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to face if he eventually is sworn in as the president of this country. So the issue is this. He must have a team of people that will be able to help him, you know, in that aspect.
And there's still a lot of Dora Akunyulis of this world out there. There's still a lot of Okonjo Iweala. There's still a lot of...
you have a lot of them abroad. You have a lot of them in Nigeria. You have a lot of talents in this country.
He needs to throw his net wide and be able to go out there and be able to pick the best. See what he said today. He said, I must run this race and must do it well. On security, the economy, agriculture, job, education, health and power, and in other sectors, we must make headway. The people deserve no less. In this, I shall not disappoint neither them nor you, Mr. President. That kind of speech, how does it sit down with a kind of person that you are?
Well, it's really very encouraging. It's a very encouraging speech that, look, he wants to do the best he can if he eventually is sworn in as the president of this country. But the issue is this. I will emphasize on this. No matter how lofty, and no matter how good your ideas and programs are, if you don't have the people who have the capacity and the capability and the understanding and the integrity to implement those programs, they will fail. You see, the economy of this country was booming because Obasanjo had Iwalo Konjo. FCT was becoming a beautiful city because he had Nasir El-Rufai. We were able to send our own satellite into orbit because we have Professor Ison in that cabinet, and so on and so forth. So the issue is not just the president having a lofty program and a good program. The issue is his ability also to be able to source and look for people who will be able
to get the job done.
Exactly, because
without
at the end of the day,
too much of politics.
At the end of the day, nobody will be answerable to Nigerians other than Ahmed Bola Tinubu if he's eventually sworn in as the president of this country.
Let me quickly get your take on this. Now, there are a lot of those who feel aggrieved. There are a lot of feeling of marginalization, a lot of being left out and all of that. And we went to the election with that animosity. If you were Bola Tinubu, for example, what would you be doing on your first day in office to give people confidence? Unite Nigeria again. What would you do, for example?
I will extend my hands of friendship to all. And I'll take all Nigerians as one, irrespective of religion, political party, ethnicity, zone, and so on and so forth. Because once you are sworn in as the president of this country, you have duty and responsibility to work for everybody. You have to embrace everybody. And he must also have people who will give him the right advice when he has to take decision on any matter. And I believe that, like you said, there are a lot of misgivings about the election, about so many other things, and so on and so forth, and so on, all this. But once finally, even if after he's sworn in, we will still have to wait for the tribunal to say what's going to happen. We have to wait for the Supreme Court. Once that is done, even before then, he should start extending his hands of friendship to people. And that's why a government of national unity for him is extremely very important.
How is that possible? To form a cabinet outside of his political party? Is that what it means to
Yes, of course. It has happened here before. In 1999, President Obasanjo brought people from other political parties into his cabinet and he stabilized this country.
Do you think Bola Tinubu will be able to do that?
Of course, he'll be able to do that. What's the difference between the two of them? They were all elected, you know. Obasanjo was elected as president, and he knew there were problems and so on. So he was able to bring in people from other political parties into his cabinet in order to stabilize the nation, in order for his government to have a good takeoff. Bola Tinubu too can do that.
Let me get your, I'd like us to anchor on this note. If you were to, looking at things critically, because I know you have a very strong critical mind, looking at things critically, what area would you want to warn Bola Tinubu about? For your understanding of governance and government and Nigeria and his very technical and complex nature. If there's something that you would like to warn him about in getting to office on Monday, should he be sworn in, what area would that be?
Well, first of all, he must be very careful. Sycophants. People who will tell him stories, people who will tell him things that they believe he wants to hear. And one other issue also is that he must take the issue of security very seriously. People are still being killed in this country. People are still being kidnapped. Nigerians are still afraid to travel by road. And after that, he must look at the economy. I know that he will be able to bring people who will help him to deal with the economy. But that is very, very critical because still poverty is ravaging Nigeria and Nigerians. There's no doubt about it. Forget about anybody coming here to tell you things because he wants to defend his political party. Poverty is here. Insecurity is here. Our infrastructure. Try traveling between here and Kaduna tomorrow. You will see the state of our infrastructure in this country. He has to look at all these things. And he also has to look at the unity of this country. Are we really united? Because I believe that Nigeria today is as disunited as ever. People are thinking differently and so on and so forth, this kind of thing. He has to look at the issue of security. He has to look at the issue of national unity and try to bring people together. He must really be careful with people who will come and tell him stories. He must find another source of getting information about what is going on in this country rather than from just the people around him.
And there's a lot to go around when it comes to sycophancy around people in power.
They will tell you everything. They will tell you you are God. They will tell you everything is going on very well outside, when truly it's not. He must be looking for information from other people who will tell him the truth.
If he watches television, we will also be telling him the truth.
Well,
because that's our role here.
We hope so.
To speak truth
to
power.
That's right.
And bring government accountable to the Nigerian people. People in government are servants of the people. They are being paid salaries by the Nigerian people, those who pay taxes. Thank you so much, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much.
Shagari, it's always a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.
Former Deputy Governor of Sokoto State. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. I'll see you tomorrow, everyone, at 7 p.m. I'm sure Akimale. Bye-bye.